And welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokanaman at YouTube with another vlog, tying a few things up before the end of the year and answering some questions of what's going on and the intended future of this channel, which has been a big talking point in the large projects throughout the year, followed by a absolute massive crash. Now first, to address the elephant in the room and what all of YouTube is losing their mind over for January 1st 2020, the COPPA laws, or the policy that is sweeping across YouTube. After that we'll go to scheduling, the injection molding project, salt mines relocation, and finally the performance of the channel. But first and foremost, my honest belief and experience on this platform for a very long time is Google is a free hosting opportunity to put videos out, communicate, and utilize it as a tool. Most important word, tool, for however we see in a creative or informative aspect. There is opportunities for monetization and for YouTube to freely advertise and push our content out in people who subscribe to us or are interested in the general content we create through tags. However, what YouTube is reading through the terms of service is not obliged to do is to pay a fair minimum wage or a living wage, as well as compensate people who utilize the platform. They do happen to be the biggest and best opportunities, with all of the shortcomings that does come with handling such a large amount of raw data going through, and multiple laws across countries. All of that, I still think it's a fantastic place to be, to share my hobbies and be amused and entertained by a wealth of other genres and activities. What I'm really disappointed about is that there's a lot of misinformation that's spread. I've spoken and tried to combat this throughout the years in Gunpla modelling by addressing falsehoods and demonstrating it through my modelling, but now it's going after how the platform is run as a whole. There is a lot of toy channels, Gunpla modelers, Lego and model makers that are looking at this COPPA ruling and spreading a ton of false information and creating quite a bit of panic to convince viewers to stick with them, build up their Patreon, and as an activity to build up attention. Troublesome thing of this new policy is channels need to indicate if their content is made for children or made for adults. YouTube has categorized this and worded it very, very poorly, making it hard to understand without a decent amount of delving and research. I've decided to read deep into the YouTube terms of services, as well as their ruling on this new decision we have to make on our channels, ticking if it's for children, not for children, or both, as well as going on the United States Trade Commission website and reading up on COPPA, how this affects YouTube, how this affects channels. And the biggest buzzword is what appeals to children. The word children that YouTube is using for minors under the age of 13. 13 is the cutoff point, but a lot of the content they're focusing on is pre-education, preschool, that gap from born to like the single digits, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. We're talking about finger puppets, number songs, characters that are very young from Disney and whatnot, and children are playing simplistic words, all educating or entertaining children to a degree that are very young, who also happen to probably watch older, more mature content that's targeted to teenagers, very young adults in the way of video games, toys, modelling, that sort of entertainment. But what you have to do is look at your channel, your content and what is your prime audience when you've started. If you use very simplistic language, everything is very safe and honest, and it's entertainment and engaging for a young kid to consume, and most likely belongs on the YouTube Kids app, you should be ticking for children. And there's all sorts of limitations of how Google will promote you. You can't have a comment section, you can't have a bell or subscription service, and all of that sort of thing. There are other advantages to being a kids YouTube channel and other forms of monetization, but I'm not going to completely touch that. Where the threat goes is if you violate heavily this ruling and you're caught out, you could be sued and fined somewhere around the $40,000 realm per video. And this is the biggest buzzword that's being thrown around, that if you violate creating something for children and not indicating it is for children on YouTube. What we create is above 13 years old. If you look at the box of a model kit or Gunpla, it says over 13. It's a STEM science project kit toy to play and consume with. There's a lot of small parts. It is something you would not put in the reach of a children, where they can put it in their mouth, choke on it, bladed tools that can't be sold to anyone over the age of 18. And then getting into airbrushes, putties, toxic substances, all this sort of stuff that even some adults have trouble going around. Once reading everything that YouTube had put to offer about their decisions and ignoring the word child and focusing on, is it designed for under 13 and preschools, or over 13, teenagers to adults, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind. I'm 100% ticking for adults across the channel for every single video. To read the websites, do search, Google around, maybe consult some sort of legal advice, pay a few $100s to have a session with a lawyer, and do not trust the videos that are being put out by the Toy and Gunpla channels. It is purely just to get your attention and to be more emotively connected with them. For the people that are quitting and having a big tantrum over the loss of monetization and all that, any serious YouTube channel has multi-tiers of how to monetize their videos, their channel, their activities, and normally go through the realm of Patreon, promoting their videos, and other platforms such as Twitter, where YouTube is not as good. Other social media definitely is, to gain more attention. The second thing to talk about is the scheduling of the channel. Now, unfortunately, we've talked about this, that I have come across full-time work for a temporary period of time, and it is consuming far more of my hours than a typical full-time job, more so over 6 to close to 7 days a week. I find I don't have a lot of time for modelling. Almost all of my projects are on hold, and in pockets I'm building and finishing very simplistic projects to make a little bit of content to keep me engaged and continually a part of the hobby. This is a temporary stage. At the same time, this whole studio that I have been here for quite a while is going to be packed up and relocated around mid-2020. There's going to be major disruptions. There's going to be large swatch and periods of times where I won't upload, but I'll try to make a bunch of kits where they can be staggered once a fortnight, or at worst once a month. Once the new season has begun and we've settled in the new studio, we're going to go back to business as usual. Funnily enough, this past November, the channel from its first update has reached 10 years on the platform, which is absolutely huge, and has grown over a period of time to where it is now, and myself considering and taking the steps to monetizing what we do here without changing any of the content and making it free for you to consume, so I can engage in the hobby in a part-time professional capacity. With the injection molding project, I would like to create my own design model kits and release it for sale for people to glue and build, as well as opening a hobby shop called the Salt Mines Hobby Shop in Melbourne, Australia, for people to come in and purchase kits, tools and get advice. The aim of that is to be the cheapest and most affordable and easy to engage hobby shop in Melbourne, Victoria, where basic tools can be purchased unbranded but just as appropriate and good as its counterparts, branded counterparts that I've found and sourced overseas. While operating all this at the same time, there'll be an open studio place for me to model in between my works and creating content. Funnily enough, this year on YouTube, even though I've made the least amount of videos and models, has been quite lucrative in the ad revenue, and it actually looks like it's becoming stable to a certain extent, however not reliable. With running the salt mines online for the past 2-3 years, that has definitely been stable at a point that it's making an impact on my personal income in the paying of bills. Regarding the injection molding project, it has unfortunately crashed due to no time to invest in it. I have invested a large amount of time in 2019 in designing and tooling up a kit, starting to work on the molds, but that time has absolutely evaporated in requiring for my full-time job. It is only temporarily being put aside, as well as having trouble getting materials to make the molds. Once relocated and a few hours chipped in here and there, it's going to be full production 2020 once the shop opens. After taking a break for more than a month when I crashed around October, I found not making models, not making videos, I really missed it, and definitely need to put more time in it. Picking up the job that I've got currently was a major mistake and a regret that I hold. But once I reach a financial goal and the transversion of moving to the new property and studio, everything will start to ride out as it is. And going into the next 10 years of the Mokanaman is going to be a whole new season and a whole new experience for myself and hopefully you guys are watching. Stuff that's been sitting on my mind. I definitely miss making content as regularly as I used to. I definitely wish to go back to doing contract work, which I'm very good at, and only working for the absolute minimum amount of hours that I require to survive, so I can put maximum joy in my hobby, and that day will come back very, very shortly. And I do assure all of you right now and throughout Christmas, I'm working very hard to make that a realization, as well as opening this shop and making my own models. That note, the next video will be the end of year vlog, just showcasing the models that I've built. All that said and done and put aside, wish you guys a Merry Christmas, take some time off work, enjoy your time in the studio or your workplaces, and build plenty of models. Head to those events, just enjoy your time in the hobby and don't push too hard. Don't spend as much time on social media. Sometimes people sacrifice video games and social media not to touch a model for a long time. You give it up for too long, you're gonna lose it. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, stay tuned, check out all the links down below, and we'll catch you guys next time.